What's up, guys? DiplexHeated here again. Hope you've had a good day so far. Welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2 and Rise of Nationality. Now, I had possibly the biggest McDonald's order of my life. 3 Big Macs, 9-pack of nuggets, and 2 cheeseburgers. And I'm feeling pretty full. I don't know why I did that. I always overdo it. But I ate it all in 14 minutes, to be exact. I'm feeling pretty stuffed, but, tomorrow's May 1st. I'm going on this kind of diet, I suppose, and I just thought I'd go out with a bang. I don't ever even want to eat McDonald's again after this. I'm pretty grossed out. I'm feeling a little bit tired, but, I'm feeling cozy, guys. I'm full, Not everyone gets to be full all the time. So, bless up. I'm going to take a snooze, and maybe that'll cheer me up. I hear tobacco and stuff is good for your food digestion. I don't really smoke cigarettes or anything like that, but yeah, snooze feels very Swedish of me. So I'm gonna pop one of those into my gob, and we're gonna get to the topic of today's video, which is the Soviet-Afghan War of the late 70s. Now, we're back on the fort map we've used many times before. I'm not trying to write it out, so to speak. I'm trying to let this one be a slow burner. And that's what's so good about this game. It's just you swap mods and you change the map around a little bit and you're going to have a completely different experience. But to me, I think I've converted this to some kind of a sandy mountain fort. And I think this will be nice for today's battle. So, we are doing something a lot of you guys have been asking for a long time. I've seen a lot of comments where people said they wanted me to show you the staging phase again, where I kind of, place the units, create the script and all that. And so that's what we're going to do today. It's a pretty straightforward battle here. So I've got my 2 deployment zones set up. This is from the previous video we did as well. So this is going to be enough to fill with troops running into the map. I have one on the opposite side as well, exactly opposite of each other. I'm going to set up some waypoints here. We'll have this be Team 0 over here, and we'll have the other side be Team 1. Now, what we could do in a situation like this is just run with one waypoint located in the center, like this. But that would mean the enemy would stop once they gained control of the fort. They wouldn't necessarily push down unless any enemies outside the fort alerted them. So what I like to do is I like to take 0 here and set up 3 additional waypoints from left to right. To kind of I don't know how to describe it, but in a way to randomize the movement. So we're going to have one here by this breach. We're going to have one here in the center, of course. We'll have it right outside, like that. And another one, a third one, here on the right side. So the troops that spawn back here in this deployment zone all reach this waypoint first, and then it randomizes their movement. So some might go to 2, some might go to 3, some might go to 4. Everyone might go to 3. It's all completely random. You'd never know. It's never even either, so it's going to be different all the time. I find that quite fun. It's nice to have that random factor in the game. And we're going to do the same thing here on the opposite side. We're going to have one waypoint over here. We're going to have one over here in the center breach, right there. And we're going to have a third one here on the right side, right there. Now we're going to make sure these guys go to the center. So we'll go back here onto the left side, and we're going to add this one up here. So the enemies reaching, or the troops reaching this breach will move up in the same direction and head for the left flank of the fort, seen from this perspective. The people reaching the center breach here are, of course, going to go for the center completely. And the far right is, I'm not sure. These guys could head up here and then to the center. They could head here in the ditch on the right side as well, but I'm gonna have them move up here, pretty much on the same level as the far left flank, right there. So they can choose if they want to run right and interrupt this breach, or if they want to move through this small opening over here on the left side. The AI, and once the battle starts, they're gonna disengage from their orders. They're gonna not follow their waypoints specifically once they detect enemies, and they're gonna be all over the place anyway. So these are just rough guidelines. This does not mean they will actually run these or take these paths. We're going to do the same thing here, starting from the left side. We're going to have these guys move through the breach that is just across the ditch and move up onto the left side as well. So that's pretty similar, I'd say. And we're going to have the center breach here, of course, move up for the center. Somewhere around there, I think, is pretty good. And we're going to have the far right side do the same thing and meet the opposite team on the far right side of the fort, seen from their perspective. There we go. These guys will most likely take the ditch. They might not even move up here for this breach here. It's a bit different, and that's nice. Then what happens? Well, this team, once they battle the enemy, they will then move down for number 1. We're going to link those. We're going to link number 9 with number 1, and we're also going to link number 10 with number 1. So once they reach these waypoints and defeat the enemy, they will move for the enemy spawn. Same thing goes for the opposite team. 11 is going to go for 0. 12 is going to go for 0. And 13 is going to go for 0. So that's kind of how I've structured this. This is pretty advanced. You don't have to play around with waypoints this much. You can make it much more simple. And that's pretty good. Then we're going to set up the basic triggers. We're just going to call this one battle. We're going to set up a loop. I'd say 10 waves every 60 seconds is pretty good. You don't want to lag it too much. Like, if you go overboard with this, it's going to be a big load on the system for sure. So inside here, we're going to add a delay for 60 seconds. So 1 wave spawning every 60 seconds. I think that's pretty good. There's going to be around 20-30 troops per wave anyway, so it's going to be pretty meaty. We're going to have like 600 men on the battlefield by the end of this battle, and that's a lot of troops in this smaller size of a battle, so that's going to be pretty good. And then we're going to add some waypoints. We're going to have tag 0 go for 0. We're going to clone it, because if you don't clone it, they won't repeat the waypoint or the order again. And you need that if you're looping, so to speak. And that's it. And then what we might as well do is add an actor state. We'll call this one battle, and we'll set the speed to fast so that they run. That means we need to tag all the troops with battle. You could call it infantry to make more sense, right? Infantry. You just have to add that tag to all the troops on the battlefield, and they will follow this actor state command. It's also important you put it above the loop, because if you put it below the loop, it's only going to trigger once these 600 seconds have passed, which is 10 minutes. And you don't want that, because there's no point. Right, that's enough for the scripting for now. Let's get to the unit phase here. I'm not sure if this is like overly detailed. I usually just show you the placing of the units and all that. But I might as well show you some scripting. It's pretty fast. So we're going to have Mujahideen and Soviet troops. I'm going to change these guys around. I had a look at them earlier, and they look pretty good, but they're not using the best skins available, and I think there's a few better ones. So I kind of just want to place down a variety of troops here. We've got 6 different rifle variations, so they're going to have different types of AKs and everything. We've got some rifles. I see a Mosin. Here's a Lee Enfield, which was common as well. Different types of AKs. Here's even an M16. That's cool. CIA, you know what I'm talking about? We're also going to add a squad leader. Why not? In the front and in the rear. How many is this? This is 7. We'll make it 8. We'll have SMG. He's got an old PPSH. I like that. And then let's bring it up to 10. Let's add a machine gunner, of course, and a rocket soldier. Why not? No, wait. One with an actual RPG. That would be nice. Whoa. Wait, do they have RPGs? Yeah, this guy's got an RPG on his back. So that's awesome. All right, cool. So that's pretty much it. Then we're going to want them to face right. We're just going to change that. I know this might be a little like overdone in terms of the tutorial. You don't need to know all this, but still. It's going to make their placement easier. Now we're going to do some skin changes here. I noticed I was going down here in the skin section, and I looked at they had some different Talibans that I think look pretty cool. They might look a little bit more modern, but the overall quality of model and skin was simply much better. So these look similar, so I think I'm just going to bring him down there, and I'm going to bring this guy 1 step down. There we go. I quite like this. Yes, I know we're missing out on the classic Pakol, or the Pashtun, or whatever it's called. But I mean, we want to really match the quality of units here, because the Soviets look really good. And therefore, I feel like it'd be a shame not to have them look the same. Or be of same quality. So this will look cool once it's all set up. This could be more of a modern Taliban struggle. It doesn't have to be the 70s. You know, in fact, I think we're going to change this to make it more of a modern Taliban setting. We're going to have this guy, let that guy be Taliban RPG. This guy, he can be number 1 again, and then you just have to kind of loop that around. What is this, MW2? Modern Warfare 2? Oh, shit. Yeah, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, and number 1 again, I guess. Actually, we'll have him be number 2. I like number 2. That's cool looking. So I just decided to change this from what it used to be in terms of setting. It's going to be more modern now. That means we're not going to run with the 70s Russians. We're going to run with more modern Russians. So we're skipping the Soviet-Afghan war. We're going straight to Spring of Nations. And we're going for the Russians. VDV sounds good. Maybe the 45th Guards. No, that's Spetsnaz. Let's do Mountain Air Assault Division. That sounds perfect. Oh, and they've even got suitable camouflage for this. That's awesome. Let's mark the Russians as green. We're going to have them be player green or player 2. We're going to have these guys be player 1. Allah. There we go. Because player 0 is my default spectating. And I don't want that to be any of the 2 players. Time to build the Russians. The Russians. Davai. So let's begin with the squad leader up front. Here we're going to have to... Should we bring in a medic? Oh, that looks cool. Just for variety. And then we'll have Rifle 1. Rifle 2. Rifle 3. Oh, he's got a nice scope. That's awesome. Not sure I'm digging his Flora cap. So we're going to skip that one. And we're going to head down here and just grab his helmet and let him wear it. It's so cool they're wearing the glasses over the helmet like that. And then, of course, so the last 2 were machine gunner and RPG. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to have the last guy be a machine gunner and an RPG. Let's just bring this. Let's have a different type of an RPG. Let's have a short one. Let's have that one. So there's a bit of variety as well. And for rifle, we're just going to add the additional 2 here. Now, if I can add a variety of weaponry here, because they had the PPSH, doesn't really seem like they have anything that's really, good to replace with. We don't want to give him a sniper, because that's just going to make him overpowered. So we're going to get another rifleman down there. And that is my Russian squad. We'll just have these guys face the opposite way because we're going to deploy them in the opposite direction. And we're going to tag these guys with, let me see here. That was 0 on the left side, right? Yeah, 0 and hidden. That's very important. And then, of course, infantry. Because infantry is going to be the one actor state tag that decides the fact that they're running. Same here, hidden and infantry so that they run as well. Hidden is so that they clone properly. Because if they're hidden, they don't show themselves until a waypoint trigger is triggered, or a script rather. And if they start running around the field, once that clone command comes in to loop the spawning of them, they're going to spawn from different places, and it's going to look really weird. You'll see what I'm talking about once we get things going. And of course, these guys are going to be 1. We're going to pause here, and we're going to just go ahead and I'm going to have to do this again because we're going to make more troops. We want bigger waves. So here is number 1. We're just going to make sure that they run straight there. And we'll double these guys. We'll have 20 men per wave. Sounds reasonable. And we're just going to add these tags back here so that they all have the same tag. We're going to do the same thing for the Russians. We're going to move them back here. Have them positioned right next to the 0 waypoint, or like behind it rather, just like this. Double that line, make sure they're nicely positioned. And then of course do the same thing with the tags again. 0, hidden, and infantry. So a quick run through now. We've got the waypoints, the 0 waypoint here for the 0 team. We've got the 1 waypoint here for the 1 team. This waypoint is split into 3 different options: left flank, center, and right flank from both perspectives. And then a few more waypoints to kind of lead them into the fort. As soon as they start engaging the enemy, the waypoints won't matter. In fact, they might not even follow the waypoints down to the enemy spawn when pushing them back, because the enemy will be there to trigger their movement anyway. That's kind of how it works. It makes for a really dynamic battle, so that's all really nice. Scripting-wise, we have the main trigger, and down here we have the commands. The actor state with the infantry tag, that affects both teams. We want them to run. We can make them crawl and sneak and anything, but you know, fast makes most sense. Then of course we have the loop, 10 times with 60-second delay. In fact, I'm going to move this delay down so that once we click that start button, it's going to trigger the script straight away. They're going to have troops running for the fort instantly, instead of us waiting 60 seconds for the wave to actually begin. And once we come to the end of this delay, it's going to redo the loop, and that's how it works. Be sure to click add inside and not add, because otherwise it's going to add it to the list instead of it being in the loop. 10 times, right? Waypoint 0 for team 0, that's on the left side, and waypoint 1 for team 1. That's on that opposite side. Clone is to make sure that they redo the loop. They're hidden because otherwise, if they weren't hidden and they started spawning and running in, if troops got close here, right, and these guys would detect those troops and they would run out to fight them. But once that additional spawn was triggered, they would be spawning from the actual battlefield wherever that one soldier was. And if one of these guys died, there wouldn't be anyone to spawn from. Like, once that loop repeats and it's time to spawn another wave, if some of these guys are out on the field running around dying, then there won't be another person spawning because he's dead. That's why you add the hidden tag, because the hidden tag hides them until they're triggered, and the clone keeps copying them. So that's kind of how that works. I'm not sure if that's a good explanation, but I think most of you will understand what I mean. And now what we're going to do before actually starting this battle is we're just going to change the map borders to something like this. There are way better tutorials on YouTube for how to do this. I'm not even a good scripter. I'm base level scripting, maybe a little bit beyond that. I get better with time, but this is pretty much all the knowledge I need. Of course, I know how to stage landings and artillery bombardments and stuff like that. That's also quite easy. You just have to add to your knowledge bank. But that's it. Let's run this really quickly to show you guys what I'm talking about. Just for, demonstration, I'm going to decrease the delay to 15 seconds, just so you can tell what I mean. So once we hit that start button, oh, yeah, there we go. I thought they weren't in the tag. See how they're now, like, spreading out? Okay, so we have a few guys going to the right. It might look like they were all heading for the left side here, but the AI is going to split these guys up later on. Very few numbers going to the left here on this side, but in the next wave, it might be very differently. Over here on the opposite side, we have the Russians running up as well. Oh yeah, that's the next wave already spawning. So that's what I'm talking about. Every 15 seconds, you're going to have that additional wave spawning. So once again, imagine if these guys weren't hidden, right? And they were standing here and there were troops spawning from them all the time. Once the Russians got close and they started getting startled, the next wave would spawn from their actual positions. And that's kind of what I meant. Guys, I don't want to show any more of this fight because that's going to be in the next video. But I'm not going to do any more edits to this. We're just going to let this one be, other than the fact that I'm going to set this delay back to 60 seconds. And we're going to enjoy ourselves some pretty awesome modern combat. This was meant to be a Mujahideen versus Soviet during the Soviet-Afghan War. But now it's modern day action. Cool. All right, I'll see you guys in the battle video coming very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.